the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
It's one of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
Oh, all right. We got a kick-ass episode for y'all today. As we talked about last week, Chris has COVID. He's not dead or anything. He's just got COVID. And then he had to go do some family stuff, so he's out this week. Lucky for me, we got some really cool guests on the pod this week, including a really cool guest host. No, Chris will not be removed from his position, even though he's now missed 2 episodes in a row, that sickly fuck. But we got some kick-ass guests. We're going to talk to y'all today with some friends of ours from Team Player Productions. They're the group that throws a bunch of raging parties throughout the summer, both in Denver and in the mountains. And my co-host of the day is a buddy of mine named Tyzok Wharton, who is the director of winemaking over at Carboy. And since we were going to be talking about wine events in the mountains, we figured we'd have a co-host that could speak about the events, that's attended the events as both a patron and a working class guy. So it's a kick-ass episode. It goes the full Monty. But before we do, we've got a couple things I want to talk to y'all about. It's probably our biggest week of content since I quit my job. We talked a little bit about it in past episodes. I quit my job because we're starting this new video series concept with Mile High Life. What Mile High Life has asked me to do, we talked about it briefly over the last couple of weeks on the pod, but this week we're launching our first episode of Kip's little video series on the Mile High Life YouTube page. So if you're curious about what it is I've been fucking doing all the time, you've seen it on our social pages. Well, as you're listening to this, we dropped our first video this week. It's a recap of my trip or my time in Grand Junction and Palisade. I know we briefly talked about Josh and the food scene at Bin 707. We talked about Pesh and maybe a little bit about Le Snack and over at Ordinary Fellow. Well, this is a little bit more of the raw first person point of view aspect of traveling around, catching a fade, eating good food, and trying to, obviously hit the hot spots in each community, but also try to find some, how would a normal Joe go about navigating this trip? So whether it be weekend trips, day treks to find dank food, whatever I may be on the hunt for week in and week out, we're going to post all of that ish over on the Mile High Life YouTube page. So go check it out. I'm going to be very proud of the products that we're putting out. I'm not the only content creator, so if you're not a big fan of me, but somehow are still listening to this fucking podcast, well, maybe give it a whirl. Maybe you like it. Maybe you like it more in small bits rather than in our long-winded verbiage in podcast form. This may be right up your alley. So go Google Mile High Life YouTube, or you can find it on the Stoned Appetit link page on our social media. So use that as well to y'all's advantage. And that's not the only thing we've got going. Obviously, I think everybody knows that our dinner parties have started to gain a little notoriety in the community. And that's because of our friends that have been helping out. Chef Merlin's got a kick-ass party for us at the end of August, but we have we're doing a fundraiser at the beginning of August with the chef duos from Jan Wonton, Penelope and Yak, as well as Poulette Bakery. I don't know if you say that right. Y'all know I fuck up the verbiage of other dialects. It's French. It's a bakery, something like that. Paulette. Carolyn and Alan will be joining us. So this is a star-studded dinner team that we have going for August 4th's dinner with our friends and family sponsors. We've got vendors across the cannabis industry, but we're also introducing some new vendors, whether it be jewelry, merch lines, things of that nature will all be available at this dinner. We'll have a DJ playing. We're also going to have, if you want to learn more about getting jobs in the industry or, getting health insurance, we're going to try to make this a kind of a one-stop shop communal effort so that it's not just come here and get blazed with a bunch of neckbeards. It's an all-included experience. You're going to get dank food, epic products from friends in the community and the cannabis space. Maybe try a couple natural wines as well. But we want to make this an outlet so you get to meet cool people doing cool shit in the community and different industries. So we think you'll really like this dinner that we have coming. Tickets will go on sale Friday morning. The ticket email will go out Thursday night. We do not publicize any of this shit on social media because we don't have to. Y'all move the needle so well that we're not out there trying to, kind of church it up or make it something that it's not. This is a community-driven event, and so make sure you're signing up for our newsletter on the website, www.stoned-appetit.com, and sign up for the newsletter. And then everybody that signs up will have a link and access to getting tickets Friday morning. So be on the lookout for that email. And lastly, our friends over at Seed & Smith. Y'all have heard us talk about them for a year and a half. We've always loved their products. We love working with them. Well, now it's time to kind of toot our own horn. We've created a badass cartridge and pod and pen with Seed & Smith. What that entails is you're going to get a battery with the Stoned Appetit insignia across of it. You're going to get a pod with strains that were curated by us. That's right, fucking Kip went and picked out what he wanted his weed pod to taste like. And the best way I've described it is if Ecto Cooler and Kip's favorite cocktail, the Paloma, had sex and had a baby, then this pod would be what comes out of it. It's delicious in flavor, citrus notes. It's a little more uppity, not necessarily cocaine uppity, but sativa fun vibe, hits those terp points that you definitely are looking for and a bounce around kind of vibe, perfect for sitting by the pool with some friends, laughing around. Maybe you're about to go out to happy hour and you want to puff tough before so you can have a little bit of an appetite. This is the pod for you. The best part about it is it definitely gives you a fucking appetite. You would be a little bit surprised with how big of an appetite you get from it. But it is a wonderful pod. It's meant specifically for the fans in our community, folks that like to enjoy the finer things in life. This will not even break the bank. You can get them at both Seed & Smith locations. You can get them at Callie's Rhino. You can get them at all high-level health locations across the metro. You can get them from Nature's Kiss. And if you're in the mountains, shoot me a DM. I'll tell you exactly where the closest place is for you, whether you're down in the southern part of the region, whether you're along the I-70 corridor. Shout out to Carbondale. There's somewhere for everybody to get these pods. And the best part about it, this is my favorite part, our friends in the community, the restaurants that we've tried to support and show our love for over the last couple of years are now coming to do the same for us. So everybody that buys one of these pods and pens, it's a combo package. You can't just buy one, but you'll come with a number. There's only 500 select options available, and we're going to do drawings for every single pen. So we're going to give gift cards away, not for every single pen, for every single gift card we have from the restaurants. We're going to do a raffle giveaway. So if you have it, save the box. Obviously, it's going to be worth $1 million one day, but it's sure as fuck going to be worth a $50 gift card to places like Hop Alley, Brasserie Brixton, some of our favorites like Post Oak and Glow over in the Highlands, a net for our friends out in the Park Hill, Central Park, Aurora communities. We've got something from Axum Ethiopian Restaurant for those that like, the Dora Watts. We've got a little bit of everything. So we want to share some love of the restaurant community as we always do. Weed and food are our two things. So be on the lookout for that. You can get all of these 500 carts or 500 pods and pens hit the market Friday morning at 10 a.m. The same exact time that the tickets go on sale for the Wonton fundraiser dinner on August 4th. But that's not all. Before we leave, I want y'all to know that there are some mega fucking drops this week going on over at Standing Akimbo. If you have a medical card, you are in luck. This place is literally the best priced in the fucking state. Obviously, we're all looking dead down the barrel of inflation and a recession. What better way to save money rather than just cutting out the weed diet or trying to save money by pinching pennies and not going to the dispensary at all? I implore you, get the medical marijuana license. It'll cost about $95 to get it, but after that, you're going to be saving hand over fist amounts of money anytime you want to buy product just by shopping at Standing Akimbo. You don't have to go in. You don't have to wait in lines either. You can go to shop at Standing Akimbo on social media, go check out their website, or you can find them on Weed Maps, and you can order online that way and then just go swing through and pick it up. It's fucking easy. Getting the license is easy, and you'll save a fuck ton of money from now until the end of the year. Don't believe me? Just wait. I promise you this. Also, we're going to do a little bit of a med card giveaway this week. So be on the lookout for our social media page as well. Standing Akimbo is nice enough to be our sponsor, but they're also nice enough to be taking care of the folks in the community. And because of that, we love working with them. So if you're looking for good people doing good shit in the community, go see our friends over at Standing Akimbo. Now, without further ado, Kip and so his new co-host Tyzok, welcome Team Player Productions.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another one-man show. Chris is still out with COVID, and because we play by society standards, we're going to make him hold off for 10 days. But lucky enough, I had a friend who was willing to join me as my co-host this week. Everybody give a round of applause for Tyzok Wharton, the director of winemaking from Carboy, and second chair on Stone Appetit this week.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. How you been, brother?
Doing well. Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, yeah, I appreciate you taking time out of the day to kind of help me carry this podcast. As everybody knows, I'm long-winded and I say a lot of foul language, so we need a reprieve from that. And I appreciate you stepping in.
Well, Chris has big shoes to fill. I mean, what is he, size 14? That's a big ask. Big ask.
It is true. He's a tall motherfucker, and but he knows the wine scene just as you do. So we're going to speak knowledgeably on it. But I feel like you joined us in season 1 on the podcast, and nowadays COVID, not counting, we usually see each other at fun events through the summer, whether it be food parties or wine events. It's that's where we usually get to catch up again.
Yep. I think the last time we ran into one another was a stem cider event at Acre.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Out there at the pouring up there.
Yeah.
We had a big time.
Yeah.
It was a warm day out there.
It was a warm day. It was a beautiful day.
But we also did the Big Eat, which is coming up soon.
Absolutely.
I don't know if Carboy will be back in that, but I know of some events that y'all are going to be in, and we're diving into those conversations today.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. And that actually leads us to our next introduction. We have a guest joining us today from Team Player Productions, Mr. Nate Karnemaat.
Hey, how's it going?
Did I nail that?
Nailed it.
Holy fuck, no one's ever.
It's a long one, but you got it.
And if people see how I spell it, they know I'm a redneck. So, that's why I need a wine rep that can talk knowledgeably about the cool events coming up, but also love having friends and things of that nature that, can speak on it. We're excited to learn more about what y'all's summer calendar looks like.
Absolutely, yeah, happy to be here.
Hell yeah. Well, before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to not only one of our sponsors, our friends over at Eden Extracts. They're growing some delicious cannabis right there on the western slope out of Parachute, Colorado. They're a live resin operation from soil to oil. Nailed that. You can find their products not only at the Cali's Cannabis locations here in Colorado, but you can also find them at Starbucks. And I think Lightshade has them too. We don't like to work with Lightshade, but we know a lot of folks that do. We have our own sponsors, so we give them out how we can. But we love that folks are starting to find out more about Eden extracts. They've got concentrates. They have pre-rolls that are infused with live rosin, and then they have our favorite, the cartridges. Similar to our cartridges, the live resins that are coming out this week from Stephen Smith that we talked about earlier in the podcast. This Eden extract is a live rosin, so it's going to be solventless. It's going to be a little bit more, let's say it's gassy. It's real gassy product. It'll get you right where you're trying to go. If you're trying to elevate yourself or taste a clean product with those, those real cannabis flavors, this is your vibe right fucking here. So if you're looking to know